Welcome to the RJI Futures Lab, where we help you make your organization more innovative. I'm Ruben Stern. This week, bringing archived audio content back to life. Many news organizations are looking for ways to make archived material current again. The Futures Lab's Katie Mersman shows us two examples that incorporate audio from the past. First up is National Public Radio, which has created a mobile listening experience that blends old and new.
NPR One is a news app that offers users a mix of NPR stories and news, tailored based on the user's previous preferences. The NPR One team is experimenting with mixing older, archived stories in with current pieces to provide users with a mix of news.
After there's several stories in, we play them something that's a little bit older from our archives. And before it, we play a little interstitial so that they have an audio cue that the next piece that they're going to hear is not brand new. It's from deeper back in our catalog.
Up next, Vintage NPR.
We're going into NPR's back catalog on NPR One.
And I really think that the presence of that interstitial sort of giving people a hint that this next thing that's coming up is kind of different and special.
A previous NPR project experimented with using the same archived stories without the interstitial. Overall, these stories were not well received. This format seems to work better.
After this archive interstitial, people really liked it. And we think that it's just sort of the power of suggestion of that archive interstitial is part of why people are really interested in that stuff.
NPR has a huge archive library to work from, so the NPR One team used a double crowdsourced process to pick popular, older pieces for the app.
You know, the NPR archive is something that we at NPR are always really in touch with. We know that there's tons of stuff that we've done just because we've worked on pieces like that could be interesting months or years after they've aired.
Archive material is curated through two steps. First, audio stories that did well on the website are added to the list in the app. Then users of the app passively curate from there.
The pieces that are more popular kind of rise to the top, and the pieces that are less popular sort of fall farther down. It's about 6 months after launch for us at NPR One, and we're still in kind of a quiet period. We've played pieces out of our archive more than 1 million times.
NPR One also connects with NPR member stations to provide local news in the flow of stories.
Audio stories posted to the web usually include at least a little descriptive metadata that helps when resurfacing the material. But for older audio that's harder to search, tools like Pop-Up Archive can open the possibilities.
WFMT Chicago is working with Pop-Up Archive to digitize all broadcasts from the Studs Terkel radio show. The station is offering the archives to various groups, from other journalists to schools and artists for use.
We've recognized for a while that we have some really interesting archives, and in particular the Studs Terkel archive, because the local station that we're connected with, WFMT, was Studs' home from 1952 until 1997. And so he did a daily radio show here, interviewing this incredible range of people, so writers, political activists, musicians of all kinds, scientists. So there's about 5,600 radio programs in that archive. So, for example, This American Life, Ira Glass took an excerpt for the show last summer and used it as the opening for an episode of This American Life. And so he was able to get access to things, and then they were able to pull that. The most important for us are the idea of teachers using the archive, and some of the other staff have been working with a Chicago public school, in particular a school called Shy Arts, which is a school for the performing arts, and they're helping the students get access to material in the archive and then use that to tell their own stories. And same thing with Chicago Public Libraries.
Pop-Up Archive helps WFMT organize the archives so they could be easily sold and shared outside the radio station.
We've done a lot of work to try to make software and tools accessible through our platform for people to automatically transcribe their audio, use machines where like a human workforce would just be a prohibitive expense, to actually timestamp those transcripts and enable you to search within audio. Pop-Up Archive started specifically to help independent radio producers and oral historians take audio once either born digital or once it had been digitized, and easily have a way that they could digitally preserve, archive it, and also find and access it again. Where we come in is that for any speech, for any words that are being spoken in audio, it's really hard to search and parse in the way that we could pretty easily parse a paragraph of text.
WFMT is providing the archives to some groups for free and selling rights to the archives to groups using them for profit, like one Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun that opened with a Studs Terkel interview. For the Futures Lab, this is Katie Mersman.
WFMT earned about $1,000 from a single use of Studs Terkel audio in a Broadway production. Along with this video, you'll find additional information and resources, including a link to the Studs Terkel Radio Archive. And that's it for this report from the RJI Futures Lab. I'm Ruben Stern. We'll see you in the future.